Groove is in the heart and Urara is in the house as we enter late September, the dance party season. Yes, this is the time of year to put our Halloween decorations out. But what could be more spooktacular than alien invaders, a hypno fetish, and Michael Jackson? We're going back to a retro game inspired by an even more retro movie inspired by an acid trip. It's time to get lost in space with the universe's grooviest reporter who loves to strut and is ready to shake those hips to save humanity. This is Space Channel 5. Arriving fashionably late to the North American Dreamcast launch, Urara missed the holiday rush of '99, landing in the dumpster month for most movies and games, January, due to delays that occurred after the October demo was released and a certain king of pop insisted that they add him to the game. And while they would make his dream come true, MJ's role would be very minimum in the first game, becoming much more involved with the second story. I bring this up because we are playing the PS2 release from October of 2000, which includes both games bundled together. For the longest time, I had been under the impression that Urara's design was based off Lady Miss Kier from The Delights due to internet rumor. This actually comes from the real-life lawsuit she took out against Sega for stealing her likeness, which was of course completely dismissed, with concept artist Jay Casdale claiming his inspiration from the character came directly from Jane Fonda's title role in the 1968 film Barbarella. Although he has also credited the general aesthetics of those times, especially in the world of campy sci-fi, and I would personally argue that she resembles Raquel Welch far more than any other cited example. Our backstory opens up in the far-off future's past of the year 2489, with our young protagonist, Urara, as the sole survivor of a tragic spaceship explosion, drifting through space like a cutscene from Final Fantasy, when she is rescued by Jaguar, a reporter for Space Channel 5 who will deliver her to the safety of her new home and serve as the inspiration for her to pursue a career as a reporter herself. 10 years have passed and it's the end of the millennium. Sorry, Willennium. Which is more proof they wanted this game out for Christmas of '99 to be part of that New Year's celebration. No time for that, we've got aliens flying in from planet Funkatron, and they're planning a full-scale invasion using their dance race to take complete control of humanity by making them get down. The malicious Marolians may have the power of hypno beams, but Urara has hypno hips and is on the scene, ready to not only take on the entire invading army, but she's also live reporting on the events as they are unfolding with her participating in them.
Hey there, Space Cats! Ooh la la here, coming at you from Spaceport 9. Tonight I'm investigating reports that aliens have invaded and are forcing people to dance.
It's time to start the show, and so our hostess struts over to her first set of hostages, ready to start a dance battle. Rhythm games were still somewhat new at this point, with DDR first hitting arcades after Space Channel had already gotten well into production. And so this game follows more closely to the style of Parappa the Rappa, or what the creators would dub call and response rhythm. It really is that simple. They say a direction, you push that direction, with the added difficulty of having to memorize the commands and timing on your own, which does set it apart from nearly every other rhythm game. The inverse to that being simple controls. You mostly stick to the D-pad, occasionally using X to shoot the aliens or circle to rescue the humans, making it much easier to remember longer strings of commands later in the game. Our first dance battle completed, we are joined by the two hostages we rescued, now turned backup dancers, lending us their strength to rescue the others being forced to dance. This game is a tiny bit nonsensical, and a tiny bit tiny, clocking in at roughly an hour, and while the applause meter at the bottom of the screen is not a 1-for-1, it does give you a good idea of how far along you are at any time. And I always try to be very clear that I do enjoy most of the games I talk about. If they were really that terrible, we would not even waste the time to complain. But with that said, I 100% understand someone feeling ripped off if they were to buy this game for full retail, especially the newer VR editions that are slower and just as short. Floating down into the roof of the building we were just inside of, we parade our new dance troupe across the dome, taking on every Marolian in our path, when suddenly our show is hijacked by a rival news anchor with an equally short skirt, Puddin'.
Good evening, everyone. I am Pudding.
Is that another reporter?
Watch my report on Channel 42.
Take her out!
Don't worry. I'll take you out.
More a friendly rival, Pudding, like every other humanoid mini-boss you will face, goes by Dragon Ball rules, and you will be best buds by the time you reach the real villain of the game. These were also the hardest sections of the game for me personally, going full-on Simon Says with long command threads that will repeat while building up. There's also much less room for error, since you still have the rest of the level to complete afterwards, whereas with the real bosses you have a little room to make mistakes, and it will still let you pass the level. Defeated by our smooth moves, Pudding begins angrily hopping up and down, which I am alright with, as we strut our way towards the edge of the roof line, taking out one last set of Marolians, and then space jumping our way over to the boss fight.
I've made it to the launch pad. What's this? Something's up. I'm feeling kinda funky.
Up next on the launch pad is the first robot master, Coco Tapioca. As mentioned earlier, these portions are a challenge, but far less stressful than the mini-bosses, although they do seem to go on for far too long, without really introducing anything new mechanically. That isn't to say they don't have interesting story gimmicks, with Coco Tapioca using the Marolians as a shield and even making a game of it, which shows you very early on that the villain may be taking advantage of the Marolians as well. However, mechanically, there is no major differences between this or any other part of the stage. You are still just pressing up down up when they say press up down up. It's just a new setting and a longer song. You survive the level with a high enough score, you win, which does not take away from the fun of the game, but it does feel like a very hollow victory. The Marolians are butthurt, planning their revenge. Hey, sucks to suck. Meanwhile, it's level 2, Urara's adventure on Carnival Cruise, and I promise not to blare any of my music poolside. However, we do have to discuss the soundtrack. Good but forgettable is the kindest thing I can say. Dance Dance Revolution is just as old as this game, yet I can still recite the lyrics to Drop the Bomb despite not hearing that song for over 25 years. Meanwhile, outside of the main theme song, I cannot remember a single track from the Space Channel OST, and I played that game less than a week ago. In fact, I'm editing the video with that music right now, and I still don't care. I think the real problem is the command system. I still have the funky flow regardless of being in the rain or snow, decades after playing Parappa, because it had lyrics and I can remember the songs. Space Channel just says up, down, shoot, non-stop, over top of background music, meant to stay in the background, with the commands being the focus.
I'm gonna steal your show, Space Channel 5.
What are you talking about?
What? What's happening, ooh la la? Hey, check the transmission quickly. This must be that pirate broadcasting station.
My name is
Jaguar!
I am the voice of truth. If you insist on getting in the way, let's see who's better.
It's Jaguar, who, unknown to Urara, is the same man who saved her as a child, but left when he realized his old news station was corrupt, because, yeah, no shit, it's a news station. But now he fights for justice, through Space Pirate Radio. It's a whole bunch of convoluted Racer X BS. Long story short, he's another quick mini-boss. With the defeat of Jaguar, we stomp over to the second boss encounter, meeting Moralina, the dirty dance bot, who lives up to that name in more ways than one, starting off with her child hostages that she uses as a shield, along with other Marolians, similar to that last boss we fought, Cappuccino Bonito. Story-wise, I do like that they continue to give each boss their own gimmick. But in-game, it does not translate. At the end of the day, you are still pushing up, down, shoot on repeat, with the exception that you have a little less time to determine if you need to use your human beam or your Marolian beam. On the edge of defeat, Motorola pulls out one last dirty trick, going to town on Urara with that huge tongue. And while I am not the type of person who would ever get in the way of a girl having a good time, we are in public and live on television. And so we blast our opponent in the face, quickly ending the stage before any of our equipment becomes water damaged. It's report number 3, and we are fast on the heels of those Marolians as they attempt to escape to their nearby base, and this level is just the worst. The idea of go-go dancing through space while shooting asteroids like your Starboy sounds great on paper, but this is one of those songs that just feels off when it comes to the timing of the beat and the timing of your dance moves, forcing me to purposely hit the commands early. It got so bad that I had to pause recording and walk away from the game in frustration, which is a terrible sign when you're only 25 minutes in at best. And yes, I'm aware some people out there might think I'm scapegoating the game over my own terrible sense of rhythm, but as the world's leading expert on Superstar Dance Club, I know quite a bit about shitty rhythm games, and this is edging very close to what those titles are like. Inside the Marolian's secret asteroid base, we find a drug hallucination, as well as Pudding, now hypnoed and only mere moments away from some alien DP, and so we save her via dance battle before continuing on to the center of the base and our third boss encounter. And this time we are up against the funky dance bot, Monrolian Monroe, who I believe was an ex-US president. His main gimmick is giving you mirrored commands, which was a very refreshing switch-up, if not short-lived. And while I do enjoy this boss fight, this is essentially the peak of challenge when it comes to new mechanics. At the halfway point, he pops out of the TV screen and clones himself, coming at you with overly long combo strings, which would be fine on its own, but they also try to trick you with the occasional little stutter in the beat. Again, this is a rhythm game. If you really want to throw some late game challenge at the player, do what every other game in this genre does and increase the tempo a little. I'm not asking for max unlimited, but you are allowed to take the BPM above 80. Urara takes a hit and goes down hard, but with a quick assist from your boy Jaguar, the two are able to go duo mode, quickly defeating the Marilyn Monroe bot.
This should calm things down. Live from the secret base, Ooh La La reporting over.
There's something wrong with the TV.
It turns out the Marolians were getting the hypno fetish treatment this entire time as well, and so Urara destroys the large monitor, freeing the Marolians from its kinky binds, activating the asteroid base's self-destruct sequence. And so we make our escape, dancing gleefully on the corpses of all those left behind to be painfully engulfed in flames, their charred bodies ejected in space to drift for eternity. We have reached the epic climax with our hero Urara now teamed with her rival Pudding and the space pirate Jaguar. As foretold in the legends nearly 5 minutes ago, they are strutting into HR in order to report me for lewd comments, when suddenly they are attacked by more Marolians. And surprise, surprise, the real villain is Chief Blank, that guy we've never met, but apparently we work for him. His goal? Simple. Enslave 2 races in order to start up an interplanetary retelling of You Got Served in order to increase TV ratings. A media form that is basically already dead in our time. Blank runs off, and so we give chase, and by chase I mean we slowly strut while aura farming. But we can't rush a queen, and every queen needs a king.
Look, they've got Space Michael.
This is where the game won me back. Not because I'm an MJ fan or anything, but the fact that his only voiced line in the entire game is on repeat is hilarious, and that combined with the fact that he is just here to be in the background for a few seconds of screen time is so dumb, I actually kinda love it. We even rescue a small child, which feels like a Moonwalker reference, and given his history with the company, I'm kinda surprised the ghost of Michael Jackson isn't a selectable character in Sonic Racing. Entering the throwdown room, we are met with our final and most challenging boss fight, Twincest for the Wincest, as our opponent is evil doppelganger goth robot Urara, and she loves to drop it low. For the record, I have zero control over the camera. This game is very insistent that we get long upskirt panty shots, which are more blatant and excessive than I would put in adult comics. That being said, nice. This is technically a gauntlet, like a multi-stage battle from a JRPG. However, Evola really is meant to be the big bad of the game, dealing out the longest combo strings you will hear with plenty of random pauses to throw you off. Having worn out the battery on her remote vibrator, Gadita Evola powers down and we head topside to confront Blanca. And like all good cowards, he's on the run now that we've taken out security, and even worse, he's attempting to kidnap our entire news station. Not to worry, we've essentially beaten the game and are now just running the clock out as we enter into another mirror mode battle. As scripted, Blanca begins gaining the upper hand, first bitch smacking Pudding across the galaxy before delivering a second backhand to Jaguar. Now, on our own, things seem helpless, or they would if I were a dumb child who was unaware of story build-up. The friends we made along the way now join us, cheering us from the sidelines and giving us magical girl anime powers, allowing us to defeat Blanc's robot. Chasing Blanc into Sin and Dream Xanarkin, we face off against Yu Yavin, taking on his Dark Aeons one by one until he is finally defeated once and for all, ending his dark fantasy that held Spira hostage for over 1,000 years. I mean the news station. Hey yo, what fucking game were we playing? Our hero Urara has brought peace and justice to the universe on behalf of the Moon Kingdom, as her and her scouts strut their way down Rainbow Road to their next adventure. I legit look forward to seeing where this game goes in Part 2, if I ever get around to the sequel. Despite my personal grievances, there's a lot I'm willing to let slide, given that this was a port of a Dreamcast game, several of which were notorious for having massive input issues. And even when talking about this game on Discord, more than one person mentioned having problems with the timing. It also came out within a year of the first DDR, with most rhythm games at that time being very rough around the edges. It wasn't really until around the 5th through 8th edition that you started to see that major push to improve the overall performance across the rhythm game genre. This is one I had always wanted to take a shot at, but mostly skipped since when it came to rhythm games, I was much more into the arcade scene. And kinda glad I waited. This was an enjoyable break between horror games, but if you could only afford one Dreamcast game back in the day, this would have been a pass. We will be back at more spoopy games next video. Thank you to everyone who watched and to everyone who got adopts this week, and I will catch you in the next one.